how, ask some of those questions to yourself. How do you do with disappointment? How can you get better at handling disappointment, at learning from disappointment, at letting it affect you less, at kind of taking it in stride?
Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you.
Hey, EQ Gangsters. This is an episode you definitely want to watch on YouTube instead of listen to the podcast, although you can listen to the podcast too. But I'm riding up a gondola right now, or a chairlift right now at Keystone with my snowboard partner. And the topic today is, how do you deal with the disappointment? How do you handle disappointment? How long does disappointment affect you? To what degree do you allow disappointment to affect you? We drove 3 hours from our house to get to the slopes today. Super, it's awesome. We love, spending time on the mountain and stuff. It's like our happy place. And along with jujitsu, what? And so drove through 3 hours. Of course, you got to wake up kind of early and, to get up here on the mountain in a decent amount of time. And my wife does the ski bike, which is called like the Snow Go or something like that, where it's like 2 skis in the back and then 1 ski in the front. So it's like looks like a little tricycle kind of thing, but it's all skis. And you have to rent it in advance. So she rented it, paid for it, all that kind of stuff. We get up here, drive 3 hours, and we're literally in the parking lot of the resort where we go skiing at. And they told her, hey, sorry, we ran out of ski bikes. And the closest one is 35 minutes away at Breckenridge. So if you want it, you got to drive up to Breckenridge and then take it back to Keystone, and which just didn't fit our time schedule. And super frustrating. He's like, look, this is on me. I'll give you a week-long usage of the bike for free on me, no delivery fee, et cetera, et cetera. And my wife was like, okay, but that's great, and I appreciate that, but I also drove 3 hours, and now I have, nothing to do, in terms of the ski bike. And so, which is disappointing, right? It's frustrating, it's disappointing. It wasn't anything that my wife did or that we did wrong. It was totally on the part of the folks in the organization that, my wife rents the bike from. And so, and she handled it great. She was frustrated. I think she acknowledged her emotions. Like, man, this is, and she told the guy, hey, man, this is really disappointing and kind of frustrating. He said, no, I know. It's, again, totally my fault. I'm totally apologize. I'm sorry. And so, but it just made me think, like, how, one of the episodes back with Dr. Brooks Gibb talked about resilience and how to develop a resilient mindset. He talked about the 3 questions, NNP, negative, neutral, positive, which is a great episode to go back and check out. Dr. Brooks Gibb, somewhere in the 270s, maybe 280s, somewhere in that range. And it's some great questions to ask. But, then I was thinking, well, babe, absolutely it's frustrating, totally disappointing, super bummer that you can't be on the slopes with my daughter and I, with our daughter. And so I said, but man, what a blessing that, we're up in the mountains, that, ski lodge is I love ski lodges. It's a great spot to hang out at. And we're not going to be that long. We're going to do, 2-3 hours on the slopes, and then we'll head back so that we can make it back to Jits tonight. What, Jits? What? And it just made me think, okay, well, how do I handle disappointment? And how do I let it affect me? How much do I let it affect me? How long does it take me to recover from disappointment? And is there a way to reframe disappointment in such a way that it doesn't ruin my day or a couple days or ruin my hour even? What can I learn from this? What can I learn from this experience? What can I learn from disappointment? And right now, this one was, obviously, both my daughter and I felt bummed also that, Kathy couldn't go with us. But really Kathy was on the business end, so to speak, of this disappointment. And so, but we were secondhand affected, right, by the disappointment as well. How, ask some of those questions to yourself. How do you do with disappointment? How can you get better at handling disappointment, at learning from disappointment, at letting it affect you less, at kind of taking it in stride? Again, such another blessing for jiu-jitsu, because we experience disappointment like every roll. Because someone may get you in a different move or a better move or a more advantageous position, and you got to deal with those emotions on the fly, real time. So thank you for letting me be part of your journey, and vice versa. Please take 15 seconds to rate, review the podcast. Thank you for subscribing and sharing it, maybe an impactful episode with somebody. But take a moment to just reflect on how you handle disappointment, how you can get better at it.